Everybody's debating Man United. Chaos has been a word that's been used quite a bit this week after that 4-3 nonsense against Chelsea. A man who keeps across all this stuff, seasoned Man United watcher, journalist Mark Ogden. Mark, good morning.
Hi, guys.
Good to talk to you, Mark. Now then, even you must have thought that was above and beyond what Man United could achieve the other night against Chelsea. 3-2 up to lose 4-3.
Yeah, well, I was in Copenhagen earlier this season when they were 3-2 up and lost 4-3. I thought that was as bad as it gets. And then, to be leading after 99 minutes and lose is pretty remarkable. But I think that package you just ran in before coming on to speak to us, it summed up United perfectly, that everything, it's just lurching from one crisis, one bad result to another. But yeah, to lose after being ahead after 99 minutes, I don't see how you can top that, really.
Mark, is there a bit of amusement or puzzlement, if you like, I seem to have detected from a few areas that when Erik ten Hag talks about performances and what happened during games, it's not quite in line, shall we say, with the general media's view of what just unfolded. Would that be fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know that managers come out and tell you things after games when it doesn't always stack up. They have to say certain things for a different audience, for the players maybe, or just to project this idea that they're in control. But to say it was a brilliant performance, and it's not the first time he said that after games. He said some strange things after defeats. There was a game recently, I forget which one. There's been that many bad performances where he came out and said, I think it was a City game, when he said what a great performance it was when they lost at Man City, and it was a terrible performance. It was basically score early through Marcus Rashford and then defend and hope for the next 80 minutes. So yeah, he does have a view of games that doesn't really tally with what you're actually seeing yourself, and it's not doing him any favours. I think fans can see through it now. And I wouldn't say that all the fans are against him. I think there's still a split. I think some fans would be blindly loyal to Ten Hag because they're totally against a lot of the players. But I think if you take a step back, you realise that, Ten Hag does say some strange things, make some strange selections. There's not a lot really in his favour, I would have thought, that you could say he's doing things right now.
Do you think he truly believes, Mark, that Ratcliffe supports him?
I don't think so, no. I mean,
well, he says it a lot.
Yeah, he does. And again, it's all these kind of messages that you get, and then you scratch beneath the surface. And, the public message from United right now is that Erik ten Hag is the manager and he's part of the plans for next season. But I think once you start speaking to people off message, the reality is that he's going. He'll be gone in the summer. There's not a lot you can say to say, well, hang on a minute, he deserves a chance because of this. They're sixth in the table, they're miles off the Champions League. They were out of the Champions League in the group stage of an easy group they finished bottom of. They've lost more games in a season since 1989-90. It's really hard to find something to say, well, if you give the guy a bit of time and a bit of space to do his own thing, they'll be great. They can't hold on to a lead. And this is Erik ten Hag's way of playing. I think, go back to when Ajax played Tottenham in the Champions League semi-final, 5 years ago? Ajax had a 2-goal lead in the semi-final and blew it with, funnily enough, a last-minute goal they conceded, which Lucas Moura scored. So his teams generally can't defend properly. And I think after 2 years, we've seen now that his teams just can't defend. Defensively and in midfield, they can't defend, even from the front. So he's had enough time now to tell his players to defend properly or to find out a way to do it, and he's not done it. So if you're Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Dave Brailsford, and all the other characters that are involved at United right now, you're looking at Ten Hag and his team, you're thinking, well, what reasons are there to keep him? And, it's really hard to find any, to be honest.
I don't know how much you've had to do with Ratcliffe and Brailsford in the short time they've been there, but are you in the here comes the Knights on the White Charger brigade, or are you more, I'm going to take a step back here, I'm not sure necessarily that this is the answer?
I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think that the Knights on White Chargers, because I think they're doing some stuff that is quite brutal stuff. I think that a lot of cuts are on the way.
Oh, yeah, they've scrapped private cars to cut back on lavish spending, I read this morning.
Yeah, well, I was told last week they stopped the credit cards, the corporate credit cards of senior figures. Now, to be honest, that
small violins are out there, aren't they, Mark?
Well, exactly, yeah. But I think the situation there. It's not a case of let's stop the corporate credit cards so we can afford a new left back next season. It's more a case of the culture. I think that over the years, although the Glazers oversaw a situation whereby things were neglected, there was a lack of accountability in the sense that, money was wasted on a massive scale. So I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to come in and find a way to stop that waste, set the example from the top down so that when you get to signing players, that people at the club realise that from now on, you can't start wasting fortunes on people like Anthony and Casemiro. And if it starts with people having the credit card stop, well, fair enough. But I do think it's going to take a long time to resolve because the Glazers have overseen 10, 12 years of decline now. You go to the stadium, it's, we know the roof's leaking, and it's not just that, it's just the fan experience as well. The concourses are tight and dark, and the massive queues for burgers, there's massive queues to the toilets half-time. And all these things kind of add to the sense that Man United have just taken the foot off the ball for 10 years. So you can't resolve that in 6 months. So it will take time, but I do think finally United have got the idea to put experts in the right places, people that know what they're doing, rather than have 6 out of 10 appointments and 6 out of 10 players. They're going to try and get 8 out of 10 appointments and maybe 9 out of 10 players, but it's going to take time because who in the right mind right now wants to sign for Man United if you're a top player?
Mark, is the biggest thing that's missing at Manchester United, and we're seeing examples of it now, what's desperately missing right throughout the club is leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think prior to Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in, I think if you're a player, you know that if you're not putting it in and you're trying to get away with it, you're cutting corners, you know that really there's not really a boss there. People told me over the years there was a real lack of ruthlessness. Post Sir Alex Ferguson, Ed Woodward came in. Ed Woodward wasn't particularly ruthless. I think he allowed things to pass that he shouldn't have done, and the Glazers were absentee owners. So there wasn't anybody at the club you think he's the boss. And, you look at Chelsea and Roman Abramovich, Sir Alex at United, Pep Guardiola at Man City. If you're a player, or if you work there, you know exactly who the boss is. And if you step out of line, they've got the power and authority to deal with it. I've never felt over the last 10, 12 years that nobody at United had the authority to deal with it. Even Jose Mourinho had his hands tied by what was going on above him. But I think now, whether it's the owner, whether it's the chief exec, you just get a sense that, I wouldn't use the word, but somebody that has got that ruthless streak that Sir Alex had. And it's being shown by stopping the credit cards and stopping the cars. And it's just this change of mentality whereby everything has to be justified now. And I think that will seep down and there will be somebody in charge and somebody with a sense of authority to take action when it's needed.
A flicker of hope maybe for Man United going forward there from Mark. So next up, Mark's staying with us as we will look at what life might look like for Liverpool after Jurgen Klopp.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.